The stars looked cold and empty through the cracked window of the bridge, and Captain Kim Tae-ho knew his ship was dying. The Soul's Pride had been a beautiful destroyer once, painted in the bright blue and white colors of the United Earth Navy, but now its hull was broken and twisted like a broken toy. 3 days ago they had run into pirates near the edge of known space, and the fight had been brutal and quick and terrible. Kim Tae-ho stood at his command chair and looked at the damage. Reports on his screen. 47 crew members had started this mission, but only 12 were still alive. The rest were either dead or so badly hurt that they would never wake up again. The ship's computer kept making soft beeping sounds to tell him about new problems, and each beep felt like another nail in their coffin. "Captain," said Park Bo-ra from her station near the back of the bridge. She was the chief engineer, a small woman with oil stains on her uniform and worry lines around her eyes. "The main reactor is getting worse. I can keep it running for maybe 6 more hours, but after that, we are going to lose all power." Kim Tae-ho nodded slowly. He had known this was coming. The pirates had hit them with some kind of weapon that made the reactor core unstable, and Park Bo-ra had been working without sleep for 3 days trying to fix it. She was good at her job, maybe the best engineer in the fleet, but even she could not work miracles. "What about the distress beacon?" Kim Tae-ho asked. Lee Dong-soo looked up from his communication station. He was young, maybe 25, with nervous hands that never stopped moving. "Still broadcasting, sir, but we are too far from any Earth ships. The closest help is at least 4 days away." 4 days. Kim Tae-ho did the math in his head. They had 6 hours of power left, maybe 8 if Park Bo-ra could squeeze out a little more time. After that, the ship would become a cold metal tomb drifting through space forever. "Sir," Lee Dong-soo said again, and this time his voice was different, higher, scared. "I am picking up new contacts, big ones." Kim Tae-ho felt his stomach drop. "How many?" 47 ships, sir. They just came out of hyperspace about 2 million kilometers away. They are moving toward us fast." "Pirates?" Kim Tae-ho asked, but he already knew the answer. Lee Dong-soo shook his head. "No, sir. These are military ships. Big ones. I am reading weapon signatures that are way beyond anything pirates could have." Park Bo-ra looked up from her console. "Captain, those energy readings are massive. Each one of those ships could probably destroy us with a single shot." Kim Tae-ho closed his eyes for a moment. First pirates, now this. It seemed like the universe was determined to kill them today. "Can you identify them?" "Working on it, sir," Lee Dong-soo said. His fingers were flying over his keyboard, and sweat was starting to show on his forehead. "Got it. They are Veltar ships, sir. Veltar hegemony." Everyone on the bridge went quiet. Even the computer seemed to stop beeping for a moment. The Veltar hegemony was one of the biggest and strongest military powers in the galaxy. They had conquered dozens of worlds and enslaved hundreds of different species. Their ships were huge and powerful, and their soldiers were trained from birth to fight and kill. "What do they want with us?" asked Choi Min-ho from the weapons station. He was older than the others, maybe 40, with gray hair and steady hands. "We are just one damaged ship." "I do not think they care what we want," Kim Tae-ho said. "Lee, are they trying to communicate?" "Yes, sir. They are sending a message on the standard frequency. Put it on speakers." The voice that came through the speakers was deep and harsh, speaking in broken human language with an accent that made it hard to understand. "Human ship, this is War Commander Thekval of the Veltar 3rd Attack Fleet. You will surrender immediately, and prepare to be boarded. Any resistance will result in your destruction." Kim Tae-ho looked around at his crew. Park Bo-ra was staring at her engineering console like it might give her the answers she needed. Lee Dong-soo was pale and shaking. Choi Min-ho had his hand on his weapon controls, but what good would their tiny guns do against 47 warships? The captain thought about his options. They could surrender and hope the Veltar would treat them well. But everyone knew the Veltar did not take prisoners. They could try to run, but their engines were damaged and the alien ships were much faster. They could fight, but that would be suicide. Kim Tae-ho had been in the Earth Navy for 15 years. He had fought pirates and rebels and hostile aliens before. He had seen good people die and bad people win, but he had never been in a situation like this where every choice led to death. "Sir," Lee Dong-soo said quietly, They are waiting for an answer. Kim Tae-ho straightened his uniform and walked to the center of the bridge. He looked out at the stars through the cracked window and thought about Earth, so far away. He thought about his wife and his 2 children, who would never see him again. He thought about the 47 people who had started this mission with him and were now dead. Then he thought about what it meant to be human. "Open a channel," he said. "Channel open, sir." Kim Tae-ho took a deep breath. "This is Captain Kim Tae-ho of the United Earth Navy destroyer Soul's Pride. I have received your demand for surrender." He paused for a moment, and the bridge was so quiet he could hear the air recycling system struggling to work. "You have 30 seconds to withdraw from this system, or we will consider your presence an act of war against humanity." The silence that followed was so complete that Kim Tae-ho wondered if the communication system had stopped working. Then the alien voice came back, and this time, it was laughing. "Did you say war, human? You are one damaged ship with a handful of survivors. We are 47 warships of the Veltar hegemony. Surrender now, or we will destroy you." Kim Tae-ho looked at his crew again. Park Bo-ra was staring at him with wide eyes. Lee Dong-soo looked like he was about to be sick. Choi Min-ho was nodding, slowly, as if he understood what the captain was thinking. 25 seconds, Kim Tae-ho said into the microphone. "You are insane," the alien voice said. "We could destroy your ship without even slowing down." 15 seconds. "This is your last chance, human." 10 seconds. Kim Tae-ho could see the alien ships on the main screen now, huge dark shapes against the stars. They were moving into attack formation, their weapons charging up with bright blue light. 5 seconds, he said. "Captain," Park Bo-ra whispered. "What are we doing?" Kim Tae-ho smiled, and for the first time in 3 days, he felt like himself again. "We are showing them what humans do when someone tries to push us around." The 30 seconds were up. The alien ships began moving closer, and Kim Tae-ho could see their weapon ports opening like hungry mouths. The Veltar warships were massive, each one at least 10 times bigger than the Soul's Pride, with thick armor and energy shields that glowed like blue fire around their hulls. On his tactical display, Kim Tae-ho could see the power readings from their weapons, and each gun was strong enough to vaporize his entire ship. "Captain," Park Bo-ra said, and her voice was steady even though her hands were shaking. "If we are going to die anyway, we could overload the reactor core and ram their flagship. Take some of them with us." Kim Tae-ho considered this. It would be a good death, the kind of death that would make the history books if anyone was left alive to write them. But something in his mind was working on a different idea. Something that might give them a small chance instead of no chance at all. "Choi," he said to his weapons officer. "What do we have left?" Choi Min-ho checked his console. "Main guns are offline. Missile tubes are empty. Point defense is working but barely. We have the plasma lance, but that is not really a weapon." "Tell me about the plasma lance." "It was designed for asteroid mining, sir. Very focused beam, meant to cut through rock and metal. We installed it on this mission in case we found anything valuable to harvest." "How much power does it need?" "All of it, sir. If we fire the lance, we will drain every power cell on the ship. After that, we will not even have life support." Kim Tae-ho nodded. A plan was forming in his mind. Crazy and desperate, but maybe just crazy enough to work. "How close would we need to get?" "Very close, sir. Maybe 5,000 meters. The lance is not designed for long-range combat. 5,000 meters. That was almost close enough to touch in space combat terms. The Veltar ships would be able to hit them with everything they had at that range. It would be like running naked through a forest fire." "Sir," Lee Dong-soo said from his communication station, "I am intercepting Veltar communications. They are not even trying to encrypt them." "What are they saying?" "They think this is funny, sir. They are treating this like a training exercise for their junior officers. One of them said we are good target practice for the new recruits." Kim Tae-ho felt anger burn in his chest like acid. Target practice. These aliens thought his crew, his ship. His people were nothing more than moving targets for their children to play with. "Keep listening," he said. "I want to know everything they say." "Yes, sir." Kim Tae-ho walked over to the navigation station where Yoon Hae-jin was working on flight calculations. Yoon was quiet and smart, the kind of person who could calculate orbital mechanics in her head while eating breakfast. She looked up when the captain approached. "Can you plot a course through their formation?" Kim Tae-ho asked. "Sir, I want to get us right into the middle of them, close enough to touch." Yoon stared at him for a moment, then looked at her screen. Her fingers began moving over the controls and numbers started flowing across her display. "It would be suicide, sir. They have us surrounded. We would have to fly right through their weapons fire." "Can it be done?" "Technically, yes. But, sir, even if we somehow made it through, what then? We cannot fight 47 ships. Let me worry about that. Just get us there." "Yes, sir." Kim Tae-ho turned to look at the rest of his crew. They were all watching him, waiting to see what he would do next. These were good people, all of them. They had signed up to explore space, and maybe fight pirates, not to die in a hopeless battle against impossible odds. "Listen to me," he said. "We all know what is about to happen. Those ships out there are going to try to kill us, and they probably will. We are outnumbered and outgunned, and our ship is falling apart." The crew was silent, listening. "But we are human," Kim Tae-ho continued. "And humans do not give up. We do not surrender. We do not go quietly into the dark. If we are going to die today, we are going to die fighting, and we are going to make them remember us." Park Bo-ra stood up from her engineering station. "What do you need me to do, Captain?" "Get ready to put every bit of power we have into the plasma lance. Everything. Life support, artificial gravity, emergency power, even the coffee maker. I want that beam hot enough to cut through a planet." "That will kill us, sir. Without life support, we have maybe 10 minutes before we suffocate. Then we better make those 10 minutes count." Choi Min-ho was already working on his weapons console. "I can rig the plasma lance to fire in a continuous beam instead of short pulses. It will drain the power faster, but it will cut deeper." "Do it." Lee Dong-soo raised his hand. "Sir, the aliens are moving into attack formation. They will be in firing range in 2 minutes." "Good. Yoon, are you ready?" "Course plotted, sir. It is not going to be a smooth ride." "I did not expect it to be." "Park, how long until you can give me that power?" 30 seconds, sir." "But, Captain, once I start this process, I cannot stop it. The reactor will either give us the power we need, or it will explode and kill us all." Kim Tae-ho looked around the bridge one more time. These people trusted him to lead them, and he was about to lead them into almost certain death. But what choice did they have? Surrender meant death. Running meant death. At least this way, they would die as humans. "Do it," he said. Park Bo-ra took a deep breath and began pressing buttons on her console. Deep in the ship's belly, the reactor began to sing with power, drawing energy from every system on the ship. The lights flickered and dimmed, then went out completely. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in red. "Power transfer complete," Park Bo-ra reported. "Plasma lance is charged and ready." "Sir," Lee Dong-soo said, and his voice was tight with fear. "They are hailing us again." "Let me hear it." The alien voice came through the speakers again, but this time it sounded different, less amused and more annoyed. "Human ship, you have had your chance to surrender. We are beginning our attack. Prepare to die." Kim Tae-ho picked up the microphone. "This is Captain Kim Tae-ho. You want to fight us? Come and try." He looked at Yoon. "Take us in." The Soul's Pride began to move, accelerating toward the center of the alien formation. It was not a fast ship anymore, not with half its engines offline, but it was fast enough. The Veltar ships began firing, and space around them lit up with energy beams and missile trails. "Evasive maneuvers," Kim Tae-ho ordered. Yoon's hands flew over her controls, and the ship began to dance. It twisted and turned and spun through space, dodging between the massive alien warships like a fish swimming through a forest of trees. Weapons fire blazed past them, close enough that Kim Tae-ho could feel the heat through the hull. "Range to target?" he asked. 8,000 meters and closing, Choi reported. A missile exploded near their port side, and the ship shook like a wet dog. Sparks flew from damaged consoles, and the smell of burning electronics filled the air. 6,000 meters. Another explosion, this one so close that the blast wave cracked one of the remaining windows on the bridge. Air began whistling out through the crack, and Lee Dong-soo grabbed an emergency patch kit. 5,000 meters. In range now, sir. Kim Tae-ho looked at the main screen, where the largest Veltar ship filled their view. It was beautiful in a terrible way, all smooth curves and glowing weapons ports, like a work of art designed by someone who loved death. "Fire," Kim Tae-ho said. The plasma lance fired with a sound like thunder being born. The beam was pure white light, brighter than a star, and it cut through space like a sword made of lightning. It hit the Veltar flagship right in the center of its hull, and for a moment, nothing happened. Then the alien ship's shields began to glow and spark and finally shatter like glass. The beam kept cutting, melting through armor that was supposed to stop anything the galaxy could throw at it. It burned through deck after deck, room after room, until it punched out the other side of the ship in a fountain of molten metal and escaping atmosphere. "Direct hit!" Choi shouted, but his voice was almost lost in the sound of alarms and explosions. The flagship began to list to one side, its main engines flickering and dying. But the plasma lance was still firing, and as the Soul's Pride continued its mad charge through the alien formation, the beam swept across two more Veltar ships like a cutting torch. Their shields lasted maybe 3 seconds before the beam sliced them open from nose to tail. "3 ships down," Choi reported. "But sir, we have used half our power already." Kim Tae-ho nodded. The plan was working, but barely. The aliens had been caught completely off guard by the attack, but they were recovering fast. Energy bolts were starting to hit the Soul's Pride now, and each impact shook the ship like a giant's fist. "Yoon, get us out of here," he ordered. "Working on it, sir." The Soul's Pride dove under the belly of another Veltar ship, so close that Kim Tae-ho could see the details of its hull plating through the main viewer. The alien ship tried to track them with its guns, but it was too big and slow to follow. Their movements. "Sir," Lee Dong-soo called out, "I am getting more communications from the aliens. They are very confused. They want to know how our weapons got through their shields." "What are you telling them?" "Nothing, sir. But I am picking up their tactical communications. They think we have some kind of new super weapon." Kim Tae-ho almost laughed. "A super weapon! If only they knew that their terrifying new technology was actually a mining tool jury-rigged by a desperate engineer." An explosion rocked the ship and sparks flew from Park Bo-ra's console. She brushed them away and kept working, her hands steady, even as blood ran down her face from a cut on her forehead. "Reactor is holding," she reported. "But we are running on fumes now. Maybe 2 more shots with the lance, then we are dead in space." "Make them count," Kim Tae-ho said. The Soul's Pride burst out from between 2 alien ships and found itself face to face with a Veltar cruiser. The alien ship was turning to bring its main guns to bear, and Kim Tae-ho could see the weapon ports glowing as they charged up. "Fire," he said. The plasma lance reached out again, and this time it caught the cruiser right in its weapon systems. The alien ship exploded from the inside out, its own ammunition cooking off in a chain reaction that lit up the surrounding space like a new sun. "4 down," Choi said, but his voice was grim. "Power at 15% and falling fast." Kim Tae-ho looked at the tactical display. 43 alien ships were still out there, and they were starting to coordinate their attack. The Soul's Pride had surprised them once, but surprise only worked when the enemy did not know what you were capable of. "Sir," Yoon called out, "we have a problem. They are boxing us in. No matter which way I turn, we are going to fly right into their guns." Kim Tae-ho studied the display. She was right. The Veltar ships were positioning themselves in a perfect sphere around the Soul's Pride, with overlapping fields of fire that would turn any escape route into a death trap. "Then we do not try to escape," he said. "We go right through them." "Sir, pick the biggest ship you can find and aim right for it. If we are going to die, let us at least take some of them with us." Yoon's hands hesitated over her controls for just a moment. Then she nodded and began plotting a new course. On the main screen, Kim Tae-ho could see their target, a massive Veltar battleship that was 3 times the size of the Soul's Pride. "All hands, prepare for ramming speed," Kim Tae-ho announced over the ship's intercom. The Soul's Pride accelerated toward the battleship, and the alien ship began firing everything it had. Energy beams and missiles filled the space between them, and the human ship shook and groaned under the impact. Hull plates began to peel away, spinning off into space like metal leaves in a storm. "Hull breach on decks 4 through 7, someone reported. Kim Tae-ho was not sure who had said it because the bridge was full of smoke and sparks and the sound of dying machines. "Sealing emergency bulkheads," Park Bo-ra said. But we are losing atmosphere fast. How long until impact? Kim Tae-ho asked. 30 seconds, Yoon replied. The Veltar battleship was growing larger on the screen, filling their entire view. Kim Tae-ho could see details now. Weapon turrets, sensor arrays, even windows where alien faces might be watching their approach. 20 seconds. More explosions. The artificial gravity failed, and everyone on the bridge began floating. Kim Tae-ho grabbed his command chair and held on tight. 10 seconds. Sir, Lee Dong-soo said, and his voice was strange. I am getting something weird on the communications array. Multiple contacts, very far away, but they are broadcasting human identification codes. What? 5 seconds. The battleship was right in front of them now, close enough to touch. Kim Tae-ho could see alien crew members running through the corridors. Behind the windows, their faces twisted with fear and confusion. Contact in 3, 2, 1. But instead of the crushing impact that Kim Tae-ho expected, the Soul's Pride suddenly lurched to one side. Yoon had fired the maneuvering thrusters at the last second, sending them scraping along the battleship's hull instead of smashing into it head-on. What are you doing? Kim Tae-ho demanded. Buying us time, sir, Yoon said. Look at the long-range sensors. Kim Tae-ho looked, and his heart stopped. There, at the very edge of sensor range, were more contacts. Lots of them. And they were all broadcasting human identification codes. Lee, can you get a count? Working on it, sir. Signal is very weak, but I am reading at least 30 ships, maybe more. 30 ships. That was almost a full fleet. But how is that possible? The nearest human ships were supposed to be days away. Sir, Park Bo-ra said, and her voice was tight, with pain. Reactor is failing. We have maybe 5 minutes before total power loss. Can you give me one more shot with the lance? Maybe, but it will have to be close range. Very close. Kim Tae-ho looked at the tactical display again. The Veltar ships were regrouping, moving into a tighter formation around the Soul's Pride. They had learned from the first attack and were not going to give the humans another chance to surprise them. But something was happening to the alien formation. The ships on the outer edge were starting to turn away. Their sensors pointed toward the edge of the system where the new contacts were approaching. Lee, what are the aliens saying now? They are confused, sir. Their long-range sensors are picking up the same contacts we are. They are trying to identify them. And? They cannot believe what they are seeing, sir. The war commander is demanding that his sensor operators run full diagnostics on their equipment. Kim Tae-ho felt a smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. Whatever was coming toward them, it was big enough to make the Veltar nervous. And anything that made the Veltar nervous was probably good news for humanity. Sir, Yoon said, the alien ships are starting to move. It looks like they are forming a defensive perimeter. Defensive? Against what? I think they are about to find out, sir. On the main screen, Kim Tae-ho could see the Veltar battleship they had just scraped past. Its hull was scarred and blackened from their close encounter, and several of its weapon turrets had been torn away. But it was still functional, still dangerous, and it was pointing all of its remaining guns at the Soul's Pride. Here they come again, Choi said. The Veltar battleship opened fire with everything it had left, and space around the Soul's Pride turned into a storm of energy and death. But something was different this time. The alien gunners were not aiming as carefully as before. Their shots were rushed, panicked, and many of them went wide of their target. They are scared, Choi observed, watching the enemy fire pattern on his tactical display. Something has them spooked. Sir, Lee Dong-soo said, his voice rising with excitement, I am getting clearer signals from those incoming contacts. They are definitely human ships, and they are big ones. I am reading battleships, cruisers, destroyers, even some ship types I do not recognize. Kim Tae-ho felt his heart racing. How many? 37 ships confirmed, sir, and they are moving fast. They will be here in less than an hour. Less than an hour. Kim Tae-ho looked around the bridge at his dying ship and his wounded crew. Park Bo-ra was working at her station even though her left arm was clearly broken. Lee Dong-soo had blood on his face from a piece of flying metal. Yoon was flying the ship with one hand while she held a pressure bandage to her shoulder with the other. Could they survive for another hour? Park, what is our status? Not good, sir. Main reactor is in cascade failure. I can keep it stable for maybe 20 more minutes, but after that it is going to go critical whether we want it to or not. 20 minutes. That was not enough time for the human fleet to reach them, but it might be enough time to do something that would matter. Lee, I want you to start broadcasting everything we have to those incoming ships. Technical specifications, tactical data, recordings of this battle, everything, sir. If we do not make it out of this, I want them to know what happened here. I want them to know how we died. Yes, sir. Lee began working at his console, sending compressed data bursts toward the approaching human fleet. Meanwhile, the Veltar ships were getting more and more agitated. Kim Tae-ho could see them on the tactical display, moving in complex patterns as they tried to figure out what to do about the new threat. Sir, Lee said after a few minutes of listening to alien communications, I think you need to hear this. The Veltar war commander is talking to his fleet and he sounds very worried. Put it on speakers. The alien voice came through, speaking in the harsh Veltar language, but Lee had set the computer to translate in real time. All ships, maintain defensive formation. Command wants to know how many human vessels are approaching our position. Another voice answered. Sensors show 37 ships, War Commander. But these are not like the damaged vessel we are fighting. These are military ships, heavily armed. Impossible. Intelligence reports indicated that human military capability was limited to small patrol craft and exploration vessels. War Commander, I am reading weapon signatures that exceed our own battleships. These humans have been hiding their true strength. There was a long pause. Then the War Commander spoke again. Contact Hegemony Command. Tell them we may have made an error in our assessment of human capabilities. Kim Tae-ho looked at his crew. They were all listening to the alien conversation, and for the first time in days, he could see hope in their eyes. Sir, Park Bo-ra said, I have an idea. It is crazy, but it might work. Tell me. The reactor is going to explode anyway, right? What if we use that explosion as a weapon? I can rig it to go off right in the middle of their formation. That would kill us. We are already dead, sir. At least this way, we take some of them with us. Kim Tae-ho thought about it. It was a good plan, the kind of plan that would be remembered for 1,000 years. But something was nagging at him, some idea that was trying to form in the back of his mind. Lee, show me those sensor readings from the human fleet again. Lee brought up the data on the main screen. 37 ships, moving in perfect formation, their energy signatures bright as stars against the darkness of space. What kind of ships are they? Kim Tae-ho asked. Mixed fleet, sir. I can identify at least 12 battleships, 8 heavy cruisers, 10 destroyers, and 7 ships that do not match anything in our database. 7 unknown ships. Kim Tae-ho studied the display. Lee, are you sure those are human vessels? Yes, sir. They are broadcasting human identification codes and using human communication protocols. But you said some of them do not match our database. That is correct, sir. They appear to be ship designs that are not in our public records. Kim Tae-ho felt a chill run down his spine. Ship designs that were not in the public records could mean only one thing: military vessels that were classified above his security level. Ships that were so secret that even a destroyer captain was not supposed to know they existed. Sir, Yoon said from her pilot station, the Veltar ships are starting to pull back. They are moving away from us and forming a defensive line between us and the incoming human fleet. They think the fleet is coming to rescue us, Choi said. Is it? Park Bo-ra asked. Kim Tae-ho looked at the tactical display again. The human ships were still an hour away, but their approach vector was perfect. They were coming in fast and straight, like an arrow aimed at the heart of the Veltar formation. I do not think they are coming to rescue us, he said slowly. I think they were already coming here. Sir, think about it. How did 37 human warships get here so fast? The nearest human base is 4 days away. These ships would have had to leave before we even sent our distress signal. The bridge was quiet as everyone absorbed this information. You mean they knew we were going to be attacked? Lee asked. No, I think they knew the Veltar were going to be here. I think this whole thing was planned. What whole thing? Kim Tae-ho looked at his crew, these brave people who had followed him into hell without question. I think we were bait. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. But before anyone could respond, Lee's communication console started beeping with an incoming message. Sir, we are receiving a transmission from the human fleet. It is on a secure military channel. Put it through. The voice that came through the speakers was calm and professional, with the crisp accent of someone who had been born on Earth. Soul's Pride, this is Admiral Chen aboard the battleship Incheon. Please respond. Kim Tae-ho picked up his microphone. Admiral, this is Captain Kim Tae-ho. We are in pretty bad shape here. Understood, Captain. We have been monitoring your situation. You have done excellent work, sir. Your engagement with the Veltar fleet has provided us with valuable intelligence about their capabilities and tactics. We are now in position to complete the mission. What mission? There was a pause, then the Admiral spoke again. Captain, you and your crew were never supposed to encounter those pirates. You were supposed to arrive in this system, conduct a routine survey, and leave. The fact that you are damaged and alone was not part of the plan. Then what was the plan? The plan was to determine Veltar intentions regarding human space. Your presence in this system was designed to test their response. We expected them to send a small patrol to investigate. Instead, they sent a full attack fleet. Kim Tae-ho felt sick. You used us as bait. Captain, you have just provided humanity with proof that the Veltar hegemony considers us a threat worth destroying. That information is going to change everything. On the tactical display, Kim Tae-ho could see the human fleet getting closer. The ships were massive, bigger than anything he had ever seen, and their weapon signatures were off the charts. Sir, Lee said quietly, the Veltar war commander is trying to contact the human fleet. What is he saying? He is demanding to know human intentions and requesting immediate withdrawal from Veltar space. What is the Admiral telling him? Lee listened for a moment, then looked up with a grim smile. The Admiral is telling him that this system is now under human protection, and that the Veltar fleet has 30 minutes to withdraw or face the consequences. Kim Tae-ho looked at the main screen where he could see the Veltar ships maneuvering frantically. 43 alien warships against 37 human vessels. The odds were actually in favor of the aliens, but something told him that the odds did not matter anymore. War Commander Thekval stood on the bridge of his flagship and stared at the approaching human fleet. His ship was damaged from the impossible attack by the tiny human destroyer, and 3 of his vessels were completely destroyed. But he still had 43 warships under his command, and the humans only had 37. The numbers should have been in his favor, but something was wrong. His sensor operators were reporting energy readings that made no sense. The human ships were generating power signatures that exceeded anything in the Veltar database. War Commander, his tactical officer said, the human fleet is maintaining course and speed. They show no signs of slowing down. What is their formation? Battle formation, sir. They are preparing to engage. Thekval looked at the tactical display. The human ships were arranged in a perfect attack formation, with the heavy battleships in the center and the smaller vessels spread out in supporting positions. It was the formation of a fleet that expected to win. Communications. Send. Another message to the human fleet. Tell them that any aggressive action will be considered an act of war. Yes, sir. But even as he gave the order, Thekval knew it was too late. The humans had already committed to this course of action. The question was why? What could they possibly hope to gain by attacking a superior Veltar force? On the Soul's Pride, Kim Tae-ho was asking himself the same question. The human fleet was now close enough that he could see individual ships on his long-range sensors, and what he saw made his blood run cold. These were not the ships he remembered from his academy days. These vessels were larger, more heavily armed, and built with technology that seemed decades ahead of anything he had seen before. Some of them were so advanced that he could not even identify their weapon systems. How long have they been building ships like this? He asked Admiral Chen over the communication link. That information is classified, Captain. But I can tell you that humanity has been preparing for this day for a very long time. What day? The day we stopped pretending to be weak. Kim Tae-ho felt a chill run down his spine. Admiral, what exactly is about to happen here? Captain, for the past 50 years, humanity has allowed the other species in the galaxy to believe that we are just another emerging civilization. We have hidden our true capabilities, downplayed our technology, and pretended to be harmless. Today, that pretense ends. On the main screen, Kim Tae-ho could see the Veltar fleet beginning to move. The alien ships were spreading out, trying to maximize their fields of fire for the coming battle. Sir? Lee Dong-soo reported. The Veltar, War Commander, is broadcasting on all frequencies. He is demanding that the human fleet withdraw immediately. What is Admiral Chen's response? He is not responding, sir. The human fleet is maintaining radio silence. Kim Tae-ho looked at his tactical display. The two fleets were now less than 10 minutes from weapon range, and neither side was backing down. This was going to be the largest space battle in human history. Park, how much time do we have left? Maybe 5 minutes before the reactor goes critical, sir. I have done everything I can. Kim Tae-ho nodded. His ship was dying, his crew was wounded, and he was about to watch the opening shots of what might become a galactic war. But for some reason, he was not afraid anymore. Lee, open a channel to the Veltar War Commander. Sir? I want to talk to him. Lee worked at his console for a moment, then nodded. Channel open, sir. Kim Tae-ho picked up his microphone. War Commander Thekval, this is Captain Kim Tae-ho. There was a pause, then the alien voice came through the speakers. What do you want, human? I want to give you one last chance to withdraw your forces. You are in no position to make demands, Captain. Your ship is dead in space, and you have only minutes left to live. That is true. But look at your sensors, War Commander. What do you see? Another pause. I see 37 human ships approaching my position. No, you see 37 human warships. Ships that were designed for one purpose, to fight and win battles. Ships that have been kept secret until now because we did not want to scare our neighbors. You are bluffing, am I? War Commander, you attacked one damaged exploration vessel with 47 ships, and we still managed to destroy 4 of them. What do you think will happen when you face 37 ships that were actually built for war? Kim Tae-ho could hear voices in the background on the alien channel, Veltar officers talking rapidly in their own language. He could not understand the words, but he could hear the tone. Fear. War Commander, he continued, you have 30 seconds to order your fleet to withdraw. After that, I cannot guarantee your survival. You are insane, human. We outnumber your fleet. Numbers do not matter when your weapons cannot penetrate our armor, and our weapons can cut through your ships like paper. You saw what our mining tool did to your flagship. Now imagine what our actual weapons can do. On the tactical display, Kim Tae-ho could see the human fleet reaching weapon range. But instead of opening fire immediately, they simply maintained their course and speed. The message was clear. We are not afraid of you. 20 seconds, War Commander. This is madness. You cannot hope to defeat the entire Veltar hegemony. We are not fighting the entire hegemony. We are fighting you, right here, right now, and we are going to win. 10 seconds. Kim Tae-ho could see the Veltar ships on his display, their weapons charged and ready, but something was happening to their formation. Some of the ships on the outer edge were starting to fall back, moving away from the approaching human fleet. 5 seconds. Wait, the War Commander said, and for the first time his voice sounded uncertain. Wait. Time is up, War Commander. There was a long silence. Then slowly, the Veltar ships began to turn away. First one, then another. Then entire squadrons were breaking formation and moving away from the human fleet. Sir, Lee said, his voice filled with amazement. The alien fleet is withdrawing. They are actually retreating. Kim Tae-ho watched the tactical display as 43 Veltar warships turned tail and ran from 37 human vessels. It was the most beautiful sight he had ever seen. War Commander, he said into the microphone, you are making the right choice. This is not over, human. No, it is not. But next time you think about attacking human space, remember this day. Remember how 47 ships ran from one damaged destroyer and 12 humans who refused to give up. The communication channel went dead. On the main screen, Kim Tae-ho could see the Veltar fleet disappearing into hyperspace, leaving behind only debris and the memory of their defeat. Sir, Admiral Chen's voice came through the speakers. This is quite a story you will have to tell. Admiral, how did you know they would retreat? Because, Captain, bullies are the same everywhere in the galaxy. They are brave when they think. They have an advantage, but they run when they face someone who fights back. Kim Tae-ho looked around the bridge at his crew. They were all staring at him with expressions of wonder and disbelief. They had done it. Somehow, impossibly, they had won. Sir, Park Bo-Ra said. "Reactor is stabilizing. I think the adrenaline gave me some extra motivation. We are not going to explode after all." "Good. Lee, start broadcasting our full report to Earth Command. I want everyone to know what happened here." "Yes, sir." As the human rescue ships approached to take them home, Kim Tae-ho thought about what this day would mean for humanity. The galaxy now knew that humans were not the weak, harmless species they had pretended to be. The age of hiding was over, and it had all started with 12 people on a damaged ship who refused to surrender when anyone else would have given up. That was what made humans special, Kim Tae-ho realized. Not their technology or their weapons, but their absolute refusal to accept defeat. The stars looked warm and welcoming through the cracked window of the bridge, and Captain Kim Tae-ho smiled as he watched his people come home.